Although it's not available in some parts of the world, the Renault Zoe electric super mini has become something of a mainstay of the European electric car market, enjoying the #1 electric car sales spot in France and the #2 sales spot after the Nissan Leaf across Europe last year. But despite a steady stream of improvements and tweaks since its original launch to the market in 2012, the Zoe is starting to look a little long in the tooth compared to other choices out there. And with rival automakers like Peugeot and Volkswagen promising their own super minis to rival the Zoe in the next few years, it's no wonder that Renault is busy working on the second generation Zoe. In the last year, we've heard several rumours about this promised car, including talk of a range bump to 250 miles per charge. We've even more recently seen some spy shots of a next-generation Zoe in testing. But French magazine L'Argus, aimed more at auto industry professionals than car buyers, has just published details of what we can expect from the second-generation Zoe based on interviews with some of the team at Renault. And it's pretty darned good. But before we get to this new model, let's remind ourselves of where the Zoe has come from. Oh, and as a side, the images in this video are of the first generation Zoe because, well, we don't have any second generation video to share because it's not been announced yet, of course. Smaller than the Nissan Leaf, the Zoe Super Mini was originally offered with a 22 kWh battery pack and a powerful onboard chameleon charger that became one of its unique selling points. Unlike other electric cars, which could charge at speeds of between 3 and 6 kilowatts from a standard charging station and, if specified, at 50 kilowatts from a dedicated DC quick charging station, the Zoe's chameleon charger could refill the car from any AC power source, single or three-phase, from 3 kilowatts all the way up to 43 kilowatts. It was also originally sold with a leased battery pack, something which had the effect of lowering the Zoe's original sticker price and insulating owners from the fears of premature battery degradation in exchange for a monthly lease fee for the battery pack. That was proportional to the estimated mileage the customer intended to drive every year. Since those early models, the Renault Zoe has, like many of its competitors in the marketplace, undergone some subtle changes to its technical specs. In 2015, Renault changed the car's motor and onboard charging system to one that was more efficient, increasing the official quoted range from 130 miles to 150 miles on the NEDC test cycle. It also cut out the maximum 43 kilowatts AC charging option in the interests of more efficient, lower power charging and limited top charging speed to 22 kilowatts, although kept the old motor as a customer order option if folks really wanted higher power, less efficient AC charging. In 2016, a larger capacity 41 kilowatt-hour battery pack was added to the Zoe, extended quoting NEDC range to 250 miles. Then in 2017, the Zoe was given a slight facelift, as well as the reinstatement of 43 kilowatt AC charging, with a more powerful motor as an option last year. Just as the second generation Leaf was an evolution to the original Leaf, so too is the second generation Zoe an evolution from the first generation's design. For the second generation, we understand there are a few nips and tucks outside that marry the overall design a little more closely to that of the recently announced fifth generation Renault Clio and the Renault eSport concept we all drooled over in 2017. Inside, the changes are larger, says L'Argus, with a new steering wheel and a choice of two different sized instrument clusters, 7 or 10 inches. Level 2 autonomy is expected too, with lane keep assist, traffic jam assist and active cruise control as standard. That's less than some systems offered in other cars, but remember, the Zoe isn't marketed as a premium car. It's marketed as a truly affordable family hatchback. Where things really get interesting, however, is when it comes to range and charging. L'Argus confirms a previously hinted 250 mile or thereabouts range per charge, and that's a figure derived on the new WLTP test cycle, which is far closer to real world than the NEDC. It also talks about a motor increase in power to around 97 kilowatts. That's smaller than other longer range models, but larger than the 80 kilowatts of the current Zoe. Just as the original Zoe's charging was one of its unique selling points, it seems Renault is keeping the trend for the second generation model, with L'Argus quoting Renault's director of its electric car division as saying the next generation Zoe will keep three-phase 22 kilowatt charging capabilities, but also add in combo CCS quick charging at up to 100 kilowatts. This not only means the Zoe ends up matching other electric cars out there in terms of flexibility of charging. 22 kilowatts AC three-phase is becoming a standard for higher-priced European cars alongside CCS, but it also means that CCS really has won the charging standards war everywhere but Japan and maybe China. The only thing L'Argus seems to be unsure about is the price, which suggests it should drop to €36,000 before incentives, but with battery pack purchased, not leased. If Renault can manage that price, it'd be far more affordable than the Nissan Leaf, although I'm going to be a little more pessimistic and suggest a real-world price will probably be around €40,000 to €44,000, unless Renault really is underwriting the entire cost of that larger, I'm going to estimate 60 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The one other thing I'll throw in, it's unlikely we'll see this car in the US because Renault isn't in the US right now. It'll certainly sell in markets where the existing Zoe sells, but every time I bring this car up, someone in the US or Canada asks if it's coming. Sorry guys, it's not. Obviously, we don't know final specs or pricing yet, but based on what we've learned from L'Argus, what do you make of the new Zoe, which, by the way, is due to hit dealers in Europe in the second half of this year? Leave your thoughts below and tell me what you'd need to see in the new Zoe to make the decision to buy one yourself. That's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.